What's going on, everybody? It's your guy, 5 Wars Deeks. Today, I am playing some Batman Arkham Knight, one of my favorite story games out there. I really do like games that feature some of my favorite superhero characters or TV show characters or anything like that. So you'll see a little bit of those in the future on the channel. But of course, you guys are not here to watch me play Batman Arkham Knight. You want to hear the story of my Super Bowl 51 experience. Well, as a die-hard Atlanta Falcons fan, this is a difficult story to tell, but I am telling it because it has been 3 years since that game, and I'm in a place where I've told the story multiple times, but I'm gonna tell it publicly. We doing this in one take, y'all. Publicly, I'm gonna tell you guys how that whole day went. So let's start with this here. Even though the Falcons had beaten the mess out of the Packers in the NFC Championship, there was not one time that I felt comfortable with the Falcons' lead in the first half of that game. They were, the Falcons were up 24-0, and then they were up 31-0 after Julio Jones' monstrous touchdown, catch and run. And I still didn't feel comfortable. And that was a 31-point lead. And the reason why is because blowing leads is something not just the Falcons do, it's something Atlanta sports does. Blowing things and seemingly having a game in hand, or really having a situation where it's like, yo, if they just play average, they will walk into the World Series or the NBA Finals or even the WNBA Finals or anywhere else, okay? Because the Braves, all those division championships in the 90s, only one World Series championship. Blew a couple of series, you can look that one up. The Atlanta Hawks being the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference back in 2015, 2016, got swept in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Atlanta Dream, the WNBA team, had been to the WNBA Finals three times, and got swept every single time. All right, 3 WNBA Finals appearances, no wins. And then there's the Falcons. And they had been the #1 seed twice, once in 2010, and the Packers came to the Georgia Dome and blew Atlanta out. It was horrible. It was a horrible day. And then they were the 1 seed hosting San Francisco in the NFC Championship, and got the ball down inside the 10, failed to score. They had 4 tries to get into the end zone, failed to score. There was like a missed holding call against Roddy White. And then the Niners admitted that they were holding Roddy White, and it wasn't called. So Falcons didn't go to the Super Bowl that year. So anyway, here they are finally in the Super Bowl, and I'm like, this ain't right, because at some point, the Atlanta team is supposed to blow it. Something just didn't sit right. I was nervous. I was a nervous wreck the entire day. I'm completely nervous. So the plan was to meet a group of friends that I really met off of Twitter, but they have really become like genuine friends. I was meeting them at a Taco Mac. At the time, I lived in Atlanta, and I was a student at Georgia State University. So I'm living in Atlanta, and I take the MARTA train to the Taco Mac in Midtown to meet my friends there. I got there at like 1 p.m. Place was packed out. And so because we got there so early, we were able to get a table a couple hours later. We had a party of 10, so it definitely took a while, but we were able to get a table. And I actually was sitting at the same table. I went to this exact same Taco Mac and sat at the exact same table when Kobe Bryant scored 60 in his last game. So I'm thinking the mojo was good. I'm like, okay, this is the table I sat at for Kobe. So, okay, this might be good. Clearly I was talking about the wrong GOAT, because Tom Brady ended up being the GOAT that day. And I'm still nervous. I'm literally shaking, guys. I ordered food, barely eating it. They're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I'm nervous. Like, we're really in the Super Bowl. The Falcons are really in the Super Bowl. The world is watching, and we haven't blown anything yet. We didn't lose to the Seahawks, even though they were about to drive and take the lead. We didn't lose to the Packers because they were driving down to make it a 10-7 game, and we forced a fumble, and that changed the entire game. And I'm like, we haven't done anything yet. So are we really going to take this all the way and be world champs? For real? So that whole thing's going through my mind. And then this guy, shout out to my guy Grant. He was like, yo, you got to calm down, man. Like, you're being extremely negative right now. Calm down. I'm like, all right. I'm going to tell y'all the real reason the Falcons lost, man. Forget the game for a second. I'm going to tell you the real reason they lost. Before the game even started, Taco Mac had a DJ. Taco Mac had a DJ in-house playing music. This man played All I Do Is Win before the game. Why? If you're a DJ, if you are a DJ and you're listening to this right now, if you play All I Do Is Win before the home team wins the game, you should retire immediately. Retire. And never, ever, ever perform at an athletic event ever again. Don't ever do it again. Because that is a jinx. Why are you playing All I Do Is Win while the game is going on or before the game starts? You play that after the game is over and the home team has won. Not during the game or before. And that's the reason the Falcons lost, because the DJ sat there and played All I Do Is Win. And everybody actually got mad. They was like, yo, turn it off, turn that off, turn that off, turn that off. So I'm not alone in this. They told him to turn it off. But anyway, so the game starts, right? And I remember, I think the Patriots got the ball first. Yeah, the Patriots got the ball first. And we forced a 3-and-out. And I was like, oh, okay, bet. And then Atlanta gets the ball, didn't do anything. I was like, all right, that's cool. First run was really good, though. First run by Devontae Freeman was really good, and I was excited about that. But didn't do anything. So anyway, no one scores until the second quarter. And Devontae Freeman scores the first touchdown. Cool. Then Atlanta gets the ball back, scores a second touchdown. Austin Hooper. I was like, okay, 14-0, 14-0. I was thinking 10-0. I would be okay with 10-0, but 14-0. All right, cool. And then the drive where the pick six happens, people forget. Atlanta had back-to-back defensive holding penalties on third down. So in my mind, this was basically a slow and painful death leading to the first Patriots touchdown that was going to make it 14-7 in my mind. Because it was third down, we get to stop defensive holding. Third down, get to stop defensive holding. Third down, get to stop defensive holding. And then it was another third down, pick six. I'm looking for the flag. Everyone else in the restaurant is losing their minds, jumping up and down, throwing stuff in the air, hugging, high-fiving. I'm staring at the screen, waiting for the graphic that says flag. And it never came up. So when it didn't come up and there were no flags, I was like, oh my gosh, we're up 3 TDs. Oh my goodness. You know, I'm going crazy. So now I'm celebrating. I'm like, oh, so I'm hugging people, I'm high-fiving. You know, I'm everywhere, man. It's a great day at that point. 21-3 is a score at halftime. And I forget what song it was, but I was doing the shmoney dance to it. I think it was Young M.A. Yeah, I think it was Young M.A. And so I was over here hitting the shmoney dance and everything. Mind you, I'm actually vlogging this whole thing. So if we can get this video to 300 views, I'm gonna just drop it right now. If we can get this video to 300 views and give me about, I'll just take 50 likes. 50 likes, 300 views. We'll start small. I will drop the vlog so you guys can see my real-time reaction to Super Bowl 51. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to stick with this account. So we are celebrating at halftime. And my buddy Nate goes outside to get on the phone with his family. And he said, we need 2 more touchdowns and then I will feel comfortable. Because although we were up, that lead was not entirely comfortable. So Second half starts, and Atlanta like immediately gets the first touchdown. Tevin Coleman, Matt Ryan throws to his right. Tevin Coleman catches it out the backfield, gets to the angle in the end zone. Bam, 28-3. Little did we know. Little did we know. And the thing is, in that moment, we truly felt on top of the world. I really did. I had a test scheduled for the next day. I had, I think it was a geography test scheduled for the next day. And my plan at that moment was to celebrate a little bit on the street, get back on the MARTA train, go back to campus, go to the 24/7 study at the library, and study for the test, because I was going to be excited. I was going to have energy, and I would have done whatever. Anybody asked me to do anything? Sure, I'll do it for you, because the Falcons just won the Super Bowl. So I'm just thinking of what I'm going to do after. So it's 28-3. Patriots get the ball. They eventually score a touchdown, but miss the extra point, and it's 28-9. At this point, I'm looking outside. A few things happened. A fire truck showed up, and a fire marshal jumps out, comes inside and says, "You guys are way past capacity," which was true. Standing room only. People could barely move. It looked like Disney World in the middle of the summer. Completely packed. Completely packed. Going to the bathroom would just, that's just a dumb idea, because it's going to take you a while to even get across the restaurant to get to the bathroom, and there's probably going to be a line. So it's just a bad idea. They let us get away with it that day. They said, "You know what? The Atlanta Falcons are in the Super Bowl, and I understand that's why you're over capacity. So we're going to let you get away with it. Go Falcons." They walked out. But then a few cop cars show up. Cops jump out the car and line the streets. They line the street right outside of the restaurant because they are waiting for the game to end so there can be a riot. That's really what's going on. They're waiting for like the crowd control duties to commence, really. And the fourth quarter of Super Bowl 51 happens, and there's a strip sack, and then there's getting in field goal range and getting sacked and having to punt. And before we know it, it was 28-12. Then it was 28-20. Then it was 28-28. And the moment the Patriots went for two and got the game tied at 28, the cops left. The cops left. Now, Atlanta still had time. I do want to get that out. The Falcons still had time on the clock in regulation. And so in the past, you can go back, guys, I can list off games for you where this has happened. Go back and watch the 2010 regular season game between the Falcons and the Packers. Go back and watch the game between the Atlanta Falcons and the Denver Broncos in 2012. You can go back and watch earlier that season, the Falcons played the San Diego Chargers at home in 2016, had a lead, blew that lead, game went to overtime, and Atlanta lost. Those other games that I mentioned before, Atlanta let the other team back in the game. However, Atlanta won because they had just enough time to win. Another game you guys can look up is the game against the San Francisco 49ers, and I believe 2010 at home, to where it wasn't a blown lead, but it was Atlanta barely squeaking out a win, because that's just what Atlanta does. They let teams back in the game, but still win. And a couple times they got caught slacking in that were the game against the Chargers earlier that season and this Super Bowl. Another game you guys can look up, the game against the Seattle Seahawks in the 2012 divisional round playoffs. So it happened in January of 2013. Had the lead, let Seattle back into the game. In fact, Seattle took the lead and Atlanta won because they had just enough time to get in field goal range and kick a game-winning field goal. And so I'm thinking that's what Atlanta's going to do here in the Super Bowl. Eric Weems took the kickoff out of the end zone and did not get to the 25. And that's what kills me. Is that, if honestly you had taken a knee, we might have been able to finesse our way across midfield, get in field goal range. It might have been a long field goal, but hey, at least we tried it. So we weren't able to do anything. We actually ended up giving the ball back to the Patriots, who then, I believe, either faked a knee. They faked the kneel down and then ran a toss. And we tackled them, go to overtime. So we go to overtime. The cops are gone. The restaurant is now quiet. You could not hear the TV all day. For the first time in hours, I can hear the commercials on TV. And the Patriots come out, win the coin toss, go right down the field, and people are screaming. People are screaming, no! It was ridiculous. And they toss to the right to James White. He gets in the end zone, scores a touchdown, Falcons lose. Very first thing that happens as soon as James White gets in the end zone and the Patriots win the Super Bowl. First thing that happens. A guy takes a glass, throws it against the wall. Glass shatters. Bang! Glass shatters. I'm looking at my friend Nate. He is sunken into his chair. I'm checking my phone, and my boy KD, he was like, hey, David, get off Twitter. Just get off Twitter. Don't get on there. Don't look. Just don't even get on there. And so I said, yeah, you're right. I delete the app of Twitter, the Instagram app, and maybe Facebook off of my phone. Didn't delete the profiles, just the app, because I wasn't going to have access to social media for a few days. And I left one last Facebook status. I said, do not call me. That was the last thing I said on social media for days. My birthday was 5 days after the Super Bowl. So I thought this was going to be the greatest 21st birthday week. I turned 21. I thought it was going to be the greatest 21st birthday week of all time. Team wins the Super Bowl, and I turned 21. Greatest week ever. And our server comes by, he runs by the table. And it was like a bang bang thing, guys. Glass breaks, bang. I look at Nate, sunken into his chair. I look at my phone, Katie says, hey, just put your phone away, bro. Don't even look at it. Waiter comes running up, literally running up to the table, throws our checks down in front of us and says, I know, guys, this is really bad timing, but I just need you guys to sign this and just pay your checks. I was ready to tip my boy $20 if we won the game. I could only tip him $7 that day. So I was like, I can only really give you $7. I was mad. Boy, I was mad. So I dap up Nate. Nate's incredibly sad. Everybody is. I walk out the restaurant. I get back on the MARTA train, and my heart is sunken. I'm numb. Honestly, I'm numb. I'm just completely numb. Because in my mind, I'm like, that's it. The world saw that. There will not be a rematch. And when you think about everything it takes to make the Super Bowl, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And in the NFL, Super Bowl windows are incredibly small. They are incredibly small. I think the only window that I can think of that's smaller is in hockey. Your Stanley Cup final window is really small. And you got to make it. You make it, and you better win it. The year you're in it, just win it. So I'm on the MARTA train. There are two homeless people who are on the train arguing about the Falcons, and the reason they know is because all the restaurants have TVs that face, of course, the people inside the restaurant and people outside the restaurant. And they were watching too. So the entire city of Atlanta saw the Super Bowl because there was a way for people who did not have a home to be on the street and watch the game with the TVs facing outside. I'm on the train, homeless people arguing about the Falcons. Get off the train, walk back into my apartment. I am not studying for the test anymore. I don't care if I fail the test. I don't care at this point. I don't care. I go back to my apartment. This GSU cheerleader, former GSU cheerleader, gets on the elevator. I'm wearing a Falcons NFC Champions hoodie. And another guy is on the elevator with us. and he has on the Falcons NFC Champions t-shirt. And she looks at him and goes, "You hate to see it." You know what? We had 14 flights or 14 floors to go up. I'm talking about you hate to see it. Y'all, I have never wanted someone to accidentally just fall off the elevator. I don't even know how that's possible. I was so mad at her. I go back to my room and people are blowing up my phone. Not to taunt me. No one's taunting me. They were acting as if someone died. They were like, "Hey man, I'm real sorry about your loss. Just want to let you know I'm here. If you ever need anything, I'm right here for you, bro. I love you, bro." And then I got a voicemail from my dad, and he was like, "I'm here if you want to talk about it." And it's like, guys, it was a football game. Okay, no one died. It was a football game, and I'm gonna be okay at some point. It's not death. The Atlanta Falcons franchise will still exist, and I can still hang on to the fact that we closed the Georgia Dome, winning the NFC Championship. I can still hang on to the fact that I was at a few games that season. I have a signed football from that team from the preseason. I was at their. It wasn't their training camp. It was the camp before that. I forget what they even call it. But it was the camp before the training camp. Mini camp. I was at the mini camp. And I got autographs from Matt Ryan, who ended up being the MVP. He signed a jersey that I have. I got an autograph from Julio Jones on my Julio Jones jerseys. Those two jerseys are hanging on my wall. They're autographed. And then the rest of the team signed a Falcons football that I bought that day. $25 football. And I got autographs from just about every member on the team, from the kicker to the long snapper to the cornerbacks to the defensive end. I mean, everybody. And that football is in a storage bin, which is locked in my closet. So there's some things I can hang on to from that season. That season was a lot of fun. It just didn't end the right way. This whole thing that's happening with the Falcons now, starting last season 1-7, talking about firing Dan Quinn and then ending the season with, we beat New Orleans on the road and beat San Francisco on the road. That's cool and everything. I honestly wouldn't have cared about the 1-7 start had the Falcons won the Super Bowl. If I had a banner and a picture, I would have gotten the entire package. You know how they always sell the commemorative DVD, the towel, the commemorative football, the t-shirt, the hat. I would have gotten the whole thing. I would have went to the parade, of course. Georgia State would have been closed that Tuesday. So when I had to go to class on Tuesday, I was mad because I shouldn't even have had class. We should be having a parade. And guys, it was rough. It was rough. I was numb. The next day is the most interesting part of the story to me. The next day, my classes were canceled. Everybody's classes weren't canceled, but my classes were canceled. My professor was like, "I'm sick. We're not having class. No class, no class." All right, so I had no class. Birds did not chirp. The sun did not come out. It's two things right there. The sun didn't come out. I remember that. It was a very cloudy day, and there were no birds chirping. I went outside to go to the dining hall at Georgia State. Heard nothing. Legit silence. Silence. I walk inside the dining hall. All you hear is silverware and plates just clacking. That's it. Silverware and plates. Silverware and plates. That's all you hear. No one's talking. No one's saying anything. And they always had a few channels on. They always had something playing on Netflix on the loop, and Sports Center, ESPN in the middle, and then Georgia State News on the right. And I'm looking at Sports Center, and it's just, I'm so angry looking at it. They're just playing it over and over and over and over and over again. And they're like, the comeback, the comeback, the comeback. And I think for about 3 or 4 months, I did not watch Sports Center or the NFL Network. I refused. I didn't watch it at all Didn't watch it. I did not watch sports television for months. I watched Nickelodeon. I watched Cartoon Network. I played video games, but what I was not gonna do was watch sports news at all, because the biggest news ever was that the Falcons blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, and I have to now live with that forever. But I'm at a point where obviously I can tell the story now because it don't hurt like that anymore. But when I do see highlights, I cringe. To this day, I still cringe. When I see the numbers 3-2-8 together or 2-8-3 together, I cringe, you know. I get mad at Siri. Siri's, take exit 328. I don't want to take exit 328, Siri. There was one time I took a trip. I had to get gas twice on this trip. First time I got gas, it was exit 283. Second time I got gas, it was exit 328. I wanted to break Siri for making me get off at them exits. But I needed the gas, so. In its own unique way, that score still haunts me. It still haunts me. The only silver lining is that Kyle Shanahan found a way to blow another Super Bowl. Between the Chiefs and the Niners, he found a way to blow another Super Bowl. And that I can live with. That I can live with. It made me feel good because he took a lot of former Falcons to San Francisco with him. And if he was going to give those former Falcons a Super Bowl and basically Falcons West is Super Bowl 54 champs, I was not finna play that. So, yeah, I wasn't happy. Wasn't happy. But that's my Super Bowl 51 story. Again, 300 likes. I will drop my live reaction because I vlogged my experience. So if you want to see that, 300 views, 50 likes. That's what it is. 300 views, 50 likes. So share this with your friends. Get the word out there. This was not an easy video to record. So I did this for y'all. Just understand that. That's how much I care about you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll get back to my HBCU SEC series in a little bit. But for now, it is 5 Wars Deek. One love.